Hi, welcome to On Investors' Minds. I'm Tai Hui, the Chief Market Strategist for Asia Pacific at JP Morgan Asset Management. And thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time to understand what investors are thinking about right now and how that fits in with building the right portfolio. Last week, the Communist Party of China held its fourth plenum, and one of the key highlights was the release of the communique outlining the 15th five-year plan, which will be implemented between 2026 and 2030. More details will come in the months ahead, but I think it's worth discussing some of the broad directions highlighted by this communique, as it provides some important guidance on the direction of the government's structural policies in the years ahead. There are four key areas that's worth noting. Number one, like the 14th five-year plan, there was no explicit growth target for the next 5 years, but there's a broad objective for China to be a moderately developed economy by 2035. This could be interpreted as reaching a GDP per capita of $25,000 in 10 years' time from the current level of $13,500. This will imply a nominal GDP growth of around 6%. Taking into account long-term inflation and renminbi exchange rate, this could imply a real GDP growth of around 4.5% over the next decade. For reference, our latest long-term capital market assumptions, which was released last week, forecast China's real GDP growth for the next 10 to 15 years to average around 3.6%, with inflation of 1.6%. Second, there is an overarching principle of high-quality development. This is a continuation from the 14th five-year plan, including technological advancement and upgrading of manufacturing. This has brought some good progress in selected sectors in recent years, such as electric vehicles, renewable energy, and also semiconductors. But this also brought in very intense competition in these sectors. In the latest five-year plan, there are signals that domestic demand also need to be expanded in order to improve the commercial viability of these sectors. Third, not surprisingly, technology self-sufficiency and innovation continues to be a top priority. The competition with the US is pushing China to be more self-sufficient in both software and hardware developments. This naturally points towards semiconductor manufacturing, artificial intelligence, software, and critical materials. This could extend to bioscience, green energy, and also the defense sector. One question will be how to direct these developments of the sectors without leading to excessive competition as we see today in some of these areas. Beijing would arguably need to make a better use of the market mechanism to drive such developments. Finally, number four, a continuous improvement in living standard is included as a main task for the first time. There seems to be a shift towards investment in human development instead of just investment in physical infrastructure. Income distribution, social security, real estate development, housing, and education are all the areas that will need to be addressed in order to unlock household savings. Chinese consumers could raise their propensity to spend if they feel more comfortable in spending less of their disposable income on retirement, healthcare, or other social services. But such social reforms is likely to go beyond the current five-year time frame, given the complexity and also the need to redistribute financial resources between central and local governments. So what does that all mean for investors? On technology, this is a clear continuation of current policy to become self-sufficient in critical technological hardware and software. The private sector should continue to play a critical role, implying the regulatory environment would need to be more supportive and consistent. This could offer an alternative route for investors to invest in AI developments globally. The standard of living improvement could be a double-edged sword. Technology development could bring in new opportunities to improve people's standard of living and potentially act as an export to other developing economies. However, some sectors may also face margin compression in order to deliver better value to consumers. Active management is required to find the right opportunities while managing risks. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share this with your friends and colleagues, and of course, consider subscribing. If you have any topics or questions that you would like us to discuss, please reach out to your JP Morgan Asset Management client advisors. I'm Tai Hui. I'll see you next time to discuss what's on investors' minds. Meanwhile, stay informed and stay invested.
This content is a general communication being provided for informational purposes only. It is educational in nature and not designed to be taken as advice or a recommendation for any specific investment product, strategy, plan, feature, or other purpose in any jurisdiction, nor is it a commitment from JP Morgan Asset Management or any of its subsidiaries to participate in any of the transactions mentioned herein. Any examples used are generic, hypothetical, and for illustration purposes only. This material does not contain sufficient information to support an investment decision, and it should not be relied upon by you in evaluating the merits of investing in any securities or products. In addition, users should make an independent assessment of the legal, regulatory, tax, credit, and accounting implications and determine, together with their own financial professional, if any investment mentioned herein is believed to be appropriate to their personal goals. Investors should ensure that they obtain all available relevant information before making any investment. Any forecasts, figures, opinions, or investment techniques and strategies set out are for information purposes only based on certain assumptions and current market conditions and are subject to change without prior notice. All information presented herein is considered to be accurate at the time of production, but no warranty of accuracy is given and no liability in respect of any error or omission is accepted. It should be noted that investment involves risks. The value of investments and the income from them may fluctuate in accordance with market conditions and taxation agreements, and investors may not get back the full amount invested. Both past performance and yields are not reliable indicators of current and future results. JP Morgan Asset Management is the brand for the asset management business of JP Morgan Chase and Company and its affiliates worldwide.